OneRoomSports.com. Get that mobile app.
Football fans, welcome to an episode of Field Vision brought to you by War Room Sports in conjunction with the Sports Kings. I'm your host for the night. My name is Jimmy, a.k.a. The Blueprint, a.k.a. Jim Duncan, a.k.a. Jimbo Slice, a.k.a. Jim Shady, and a bunch of other a.k.a.s. At the round table, I got from the Sports Kings my man Frank. What's going on?
Yo, completely unrelated to sports. Y'all need to stop gassing Thanksgiving, or gassing Christmas. Yo, free Thanksgiving. That's all I gotta say.
You like better Thanksgiving or Christmas, man? What's your preference?
It's gotta be Thanksgiving. Like when you were a kid, like Christmas was the crazy because you got all gifts and everything. Now you gotta shop for people. All you gotta do on Thanksgiving is just eat, man.
Yeah. I keep it a buck, though. I do my shopping at the corner store with gift cards. Like, gift cards are the greatest thing ever. Fred Purdue, college football extra. Fred Purdue, the college football expert, also the Patriots fan, resident Patriots fan. What's going on, Fred?
I'm good, man. Ready to. I feel like this team's gonna do some things to Andrew Luck that just may not be speakable.
Oh, okay, we shall see. I mean, only time will tell, man. Before we jump into the topics this evening, I definitely just want to give a shout out to the gentleman who was just at Wawa in front of me in the store. The dude pulled out a stack of $100 bills the size of a loaf of bread and then paid for a sandwich with an access card. That's what I do right there, man. You know, that was the illest thing I've seen all day, so I want to give you a shout out.
Wow.
Anyway, man, what did you guys think about this weekend of football?
The NFL makes no sense at all. Mark Sanchez can come in and play halfway decent. The Eagles can find a way to win a fantasy game for another fellow Field Vision participant in a way that no one thought would ever happen.
I'm glad you started with that. Let's jump right into that. Let's talk about Mark Sanchez because statistically he had his best game of his career. So I'm going to ask you, I'll start with you, Frank. Is it Mark Sanchez coming into his own and getting a second chance, or is it all the system? Or a combination of both?
I mean, I think it's a combination of both. I mean, I'm on record as saying Sanchez kind of got a raw deal with the Jets to begin with. I just thought it was one of those situations where both parties just needed to go their own separate ways. I mean, Mark Sanchez is competent. He's not, like I said last week, you're not throwing Brandon Weeden out there. I mean, like he's been a starting quarterback in this league, and he's been a successful starting quarterback in this league. I mean, part of it was the Carolina defense because the Carolina offense are a bunch of bums, and Cam Newton can't even throw a football straight. So they were on the field, he kept just putting them in terrible positions. So I think that was part of it as well. But I mean, Sanchez will be fine in that system. He'll do what he has to do to get them some wins, and he'll make some boneheaded plays. I mean, you saw one of the plays this week. He almost threw an interception, but the guy just kind of landed out his second foot out of bounds. He's going to make those throws every once in a while. I mean, he's a borderline starting quarterback in this league, and he's going to make some good plays and some bad plays.
You know what, though? It's funny because some of his passes are so egregious that I think the defensive back can't catch the ball because they're in shock that he would throw something like that. But honestly, he has a little bit of Eli in him, and you know what I'm talking about. Like one pass will be like, wow. And the next pass will be like, yo, what the hell are you doing?
Sanchez is the pump fake king. He is the pump fake king going all the way back to his days at USC. And he thinks that thing is going to work every single time. And that one interception should have been picked off by Josh Norman.
Hey, Fred, I don't know, Fred, I don't know if you can hear that, but your microphone sounds like you are going through Katrina and Sandy at the same time.
Let me try to fix that.
Yeah, while he's fixing his microphone, Frank, I just want to go back to you. The national media has like a it's amazing that at this point he's won with Michael Vick. He's won with Sanchez. You know what I mean? So he's putting quarterback after quarterback into his system, and it seems to be working. I mean, is he that good of a coach, or people just haven't figured out his system yet?
I think the second part is what you said is really the most important part. I don't think people have figured it out. I don't think they're really used to the speed of the offense itself. I mean, I think he is an offensive genius. I don't think anybody would deny that, but I think it'll catch up. I mean, it does seem a little suspect or a little maybe in his favor that they haven't caught up yet, because you would think a full year would be enough time for maybe teams to start catching up. So I mean, maybe it is. I definitely have more confidence in his system than I did last year when I thought it was sort of a fluke. But I mean, I still think it's sort of fluky. I think in time people will catch up a little bit.
Or do you think it's also the Jose Canseco milkshakes, pause, that we've come to learn about this past week?
Yo, shout out to John Gruden. My man John Gruden was making smoothies on national television. What is going on?
Do I sound better, guys? Do I sound better?
You sound a lot better. But listen, though, going back to you, we know you study college football, so you've seen Sanchez play in college, and you've also seen Chip Kelly coach in college.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, would you put it more in the system or more of this system fitting Sanchez, or Sanchez actually getting a second chance and taking advantage of it?
It's a little bit of both. When you have weapons like the Eagles do compared to what the Jets had, I mean, you make anybody look great compared to what the Jets have or had. It's the same way with what USC had when he and Mark Sanchez, that is, when he was at USC. When you have guys like at that time, Damian Williams, who else did they have? Pete Carroll was their head coach at the time. Mark Tyler, Joe McKnight, guys like that who were superstars in college. They may not be that great in the NFL, but they made some traction. They made a couple plays. They had a cup of coffee, per se.
No, I understand what you're saying. So it's like a supporting cast thing, too.
Yeah, it's a bit of both. I mean, at Oregon, he's had quarterbacks like Dennis Dixon who were great because of the system, but couldn't make it in the NFL. But you also had guys like Jeremiah Masoli, who was 5'8", and he just ran the offense, and he's a point guard.
Wait, wasn't my man Lendale skipped the Big Mac White on that team?
Yes, he was as well, but that was a little bit before Mark Sanchez. That was about 2 years before Mark Sanchez got there.
But you know, it's interesting you say that, talk about supporting
or at
cast,
least was a starter.
because Cam Newton was terrible. But, you know, at some point, like, he doesn't get a lot of help either. His running game is terrible. And that's no excuse, because I was talking to Devin B. Austin during the game. I was like, it's funny how when things are going bad, like, it's just going bad for Cam. And when things are going well, he's pointing down the field. And, you know, so his body language, not that I'm a body language expert. I'm no Kyle Lightman or nothing. But, you know, it's obvious. And
I agree with you.
But at the same time, he's throwing to, like, Joe Webb. I mean, yo,
how many times in a row did you notice that he was throwing to Kelvin Benjamin, like there were four guys around him. It was like, oh, go get it.
Throw to? Like, he was literally throwing to the quarterback. Like,
I'm not trying to make excuses for Cam, because he has been playing horribly. But I mean, like you said, he is throwing to quarterbacks. And the other thing is, you could see him, he's in pain on the sideline, like grimacing on the sidelines. And then for his head coach to say at halftime, like, oh, I don't know nothing about that. Like, what are you talking about? We can all see it on Netflix. He's limping. He's limping to the locker room. You don't know nothing about it? Like, what are you talking about?
Can I just say Steve Smith was right in this one? They should have never gotten rid of him. And when you have a young quarterback and he's talented like Cam can be talented, he has a chance to be great, but he just doesn't have the weapons around him, and his mechanics suck.
Mm-hmm.
And
things you can fix. These are all things you can control. I mean,
and I will say, to Jimmy's point, and shout out to Shane Richardson from Sports Kings. He made this point during the game to me too. He said no quarterback lets the actual game affect him like Cam Newton. Like, if it's going bad, Cam hangs his head, and all of a sudden,
towel over his head.
He starts yelling at his teammates. You know, why were you running that route?
When they're winning, he looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, when they're winning, he's pulling the chest out.
His first down thing he does. You know.
Yeah.
Cam Newton and Jay Cutler, and you know, when you have a quarterback like Jay Cutler, they have the same. It's the same guy at the same when they're on the field. When they're up, they're destroying it. But when they're down, their downs are just pitfalls. Okay.
Well, listen to this. Let's keep it to quarterbacks. Let's talk about one of the biggest stories in this past week in terms of quarterbacks, and that's the Cardinals. Yo, the 8-1 Cardinals. I never thought in my life I would see an 8-1 Cardinals play a 7-2 Lions. But that's a whole nother story. Carson Palmer is now out for the season with his injury. Did you guys see this live, or what did you think about it when it went down? And you know, can they still compete?
I'll start with you. Oh, okay. Go for it.
Fred, what do you think about this, Fred?
I think Carson Palmer's injury is going to hurt a little because he brings that experience. But at the same time, Drew Stanton's capable enough to get them there to the play, finish the race of what we call the regular season. But going forward, the playoffs are a totally different animal, and we all know this. But I just don't know. This Cardinals team is it's different this year. I don't know. Maybe he can, maybe he can't. But Carson Palmer will be missed. I'll say that much.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Frank? What's your opinion?
I mean, I did see the injury when it happened. It was one of those injuries. As soon as it happened, you were just like, ACL, boom. I mean, just right.
Yeah.
You just knew it. You just knew the way it was like basically non-contact, and just the way he went down. It was you just knew it was serious. I'm on the fence a little bit because I think Drew Stanton is fine, and I mean I think the defense is really what's going to carry that team. But I thought Carson Palmer really was the story of that team because he has been playing extremely well. He looks like a little mini Big Ben out there, the way he like extends plays, and that's nothing Carson Palmer has ever done throughout his career.
He's a statue. He's as much of a statue as Peyton Manning is.
Right now he's like breaking out of tackles and making little flips like a Tony Romo, Big Ben kind of thing, and he was playing very well.
His body's not made for that.
Yeah, on one side you want to say like this is the same NFL where Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl, so if you have a dominant defense, then obviously the Cardinals can go. But it's a different league now. It's a different league with this flag football. You can't touch the wide receiver, so it becomes a passing league. To me, it depends on how they're going to referee the playoffs because I feel like in the playoffs things get a little different where you can the defense is probably going to have a little more leeway than you have in the regular season. So if they start refereeing it like that, I think they can go all the way. But if it's gonna be like it is now, then I don't think they really have a chance with Drew Stanton.
It's interesting because I forgot who said it. It was someone. I don't know if it was on our page. I listen and read so much sports. I forgot who said it, but shout out to whoever it was. They said that it's like Carson Palmer finally learned how to play the game, and what they meant by that was he didn't take unnecessary risks. He understands, you can go for a big play here and there, but he basically got a little bit of the cowboy out of him. He stopped acting like Jay Cutler. But he learned. He started to understand that he has.
He doesn't trust his arm as much. He really.
He has a good defense and he has a good special team. So sometimes it's better just to live for another down. And he's playing smart football, where he was playing smart football. So it's kind of sad to see this happen when he was finally putting it all together. And I tell you what, when it first happened, I was like, wow, they're done. And I know Drew Stanton is capable. But after watching their coach, Bruce Arians, speak, I don't know, he made me a believer. We, next man up, we're going to do it. Drew's ready. And I'm like, you know what? If he's that confident, then I think they can compete. So shout out to Bruce Arians, man.
I just want to make two quick points. So basically, Jimmy's saying that there's still a chance that Jay Cutler can turn it around in the 13th year of his career, maybe actually.
Because when you have a quarterback like Jay Cutler,
we got to shout out Carson Palmer for one thing.
Getting that extension,
I mean, signed his name on that contract extension.
You are stuck.
3 days before this happened, yeah, he said, "All right, I'm gonna sign on the dotted line. All right, cool." All right,
he did. He definitely did. All right, so we feel as though we have to see. We have to wait and see. But they do have the defense. They do have the special teams, and I think right now they probably have one of the top 5 coaches in the league right now. Would you guys agree with that?
I agree with that. And I will have to say, by the way, Larry Fitzgerald just can't get a break. It's like he gets Kurt Warner. Okay, good quarterback. Then he goes through a string of bad ones. Carson Palmer comes around. He's like, thank God I got a quarterback. And every single time he gets on a roll, boom, something happens.
Yeah.
Can the man come to New England, Larry? Come to New England.
Here he go. He had to somehow. You see, he had to somehow find a way to bring the Patriots into this whole discussion. No one said anything about the Patriots. We don't know whether the Patriots are for real. I mean, we'll see what happens. But speaking of teams being for real, Frank, let's start with you this time. The Browns. Are the Browns for real? That's a tough division they're in. What do you think about Cleveland this season?
I think they're for real in the sense that I think they can realistically win this division, in first place halfway through. I mean, I don't think they're going to be a playoff contender, but, I mean, they're kind of piecing it together. They got 3 different running backs where they sort of give work to all 3 of them, and it's a little weird because none of them really seem that good, so it's kind of strange to watch all 3 of them kind of go in and out of the lineup. But we got to shout out Brian Hoyer. I mean, before the season, everybody was just, putting that clock on, just waiting for Johnny Football to step in, save the day. Brian Hoyer said, "Chill." He gave him the Denzel Washington training day. He said, "I'm the man up in this piece." Football's back.
Fred.
I said it last week, and I'm sticking to it. The Brownies are for real, man.
Hold on, real quick.
Stop calling them the Brownies, though.
Frank, let me tell you something. Isn't it funny how Fred throws all these crazy stuff out here? He's wrong about half. He's right about a couple. But the right about he likes to remind us what he's right about.
Mind you, he said it last week when they were already 5-3.
Yeah, I know. He watched all 9 before that. But anyway, Fred, you're sticking with your whole talk about the Browns.
Yeah, I think they're for real. I don't think they're for real enough to win a Super Bowl, go to an AFC title game. Real enough to make a couple teams sweat in the Ravens and the Steelers. Yeah, make them sweat. Maybe somehow find a way to slip into the playoffs. Maybe, but that's about it.
Yeah, they're tough. I mean, their toughest obstacles that they're in the AFC, so they're going to probably need to win this.
If they were in the NFC, I'd give them a good shot to maybe get to the second round of the playoffs. But the AFC is just so rough. I mean, you got to go to New England, Denver. I mean,
what I learned more from that game than the Browns being for real is that the Bengals are not for real.
The Bungles are back.
Yeah, the Bengals are now the Bungles again. All is right with the world.
All the talent in the world.
I mean, we talked last week about how parity in NFL, but it's like teams are having. A couple weeks ago, everybody thought the Patriots were done. Tom Brady was the worst. Now there's talk about them being the best team in the league. The Bengals were the most well-rounded team in the NFL. Now you just said they're the bunk. I've never seen a season. This season is crazy.
The 49ers just you think they're down 1 week, they're up 1 week. I mean, you don't know who's good, who's this year. I told Dev pretty much all season. It's like this season makes no sense, and somebody's gonna win. Somebody's gonna win a Super Bowl that we don't expect, and you're gonna be like, I didn't see that coming. I just didn't see it coming.
See, I feel like in the end, it's still going to be the same. Even through all the parity, I think it's going to be the same four teams that we're used to. It's going to be Broncos, Patriots in the AFC Championship, and like Packers, Seahawks in the NFC Championship. It always comes. It's crazy, like when especially this happens in the NBA. Jimmy, obviously, Jimmy and I are NBA guys. Happens a lot in the NBA where you're like, oh my God, all this parity, and then all of a sudden it's like conference championship. It's like, oh look, it's the Spurs. So much for the parity.
I mean,
even in my world, that happens.
Even in my world with college football, every single year you have the same schools: Ohio State, Florida, Alabama, whoever the top 5 powerhouses are every year. They're always in it somehow. But we still keep saying there's parity. But when it comes down to it, there's no real parity.
Yeah, I mean, college football is different. It's all about who has the budget. Anyway,
who can illegally pay kids to play football for 4 years, right?
Who can shave the most points?
That's none of my business, though. Anyway, man, like you said, this has been a crazy season. We'll see what happens moving forward. So before we get out of here, let's go over these games of the week because as of right now, we don't know who's going to win what because week to week, it's like the Dolphins, for argument's sake, right? One week look like they're coming into their own. They could be a good team. Then they look sorry, so we don't know what this week. So let's start with them. Bills at Dolphins. Another team, the Bills. Now, even though they lost this past week, they're competing. So Bills at Dolphins. Let's start with you, Frank. Who do you have? Bills at Dolphins.
I don't know where to put my hand on either one of these teams. I just can't put my finger on either one of them. I'm going to go with the Dolphins, even though I don't necessarily believe in them yet.
Okay. How about you, Fred?
Where's this game being played?
Miami.
Yep.
Give me the Bills. They want to get away from cold weather. and I just want to stick it to Dolphins fans all over the country.
Yeah, you see his true motivation. Once again, it comes back to the Patriots because he hates the Dolphins.
No. I just don't like the Dolphins. And if I hear one more Dolphins fan say, well, we won it in 72 and we were undefeated, you haven't won anything in 40 years. I hope the Bills destroy you.
I mean, your team's championship is starting to get a little past that, So how long you
on that trophy. Well, dust on that Patriots Super Bowl trophy.
I keep this though. All right, as long as once Tom Brady retires, you got to cut it out. But while he's there, you can keep it going, Fred.
Okay, cool.
With that being said, though, Seahawks at Chiefs. Let's stay with you, Fred. And by the way, Bills at Dolphins. I don't know who to take. I'm just going to take the home team. I'm taking the Dolphins. But Fred, let's go to Seahawks at Chiefs. Who you got?
Give me the struggling Seahawks. I think this is a get-right game. Alex Smith, you're going to be running for your life, buddy.
Hold up. Get right. Didn't they just win?
Huh?
The Seahawks, they're struggling?
Yeah, they haven't really been playing. They haven't really been that dominant team, even though
Nobody's dominant this year, though.
Right.
They haven't
We just talked about that.
offensively, defensively. They just haven't really been the Seahawks that I'm used to seeing the last couple of years. And I think this is a game where they can get right, especially on.
All right, now you're confusing me. The last couple years, I mean, they won last year. Before that, they were dominating the league. I mean, anyway, with all that being said, Frank, who you got?
I'm going to take the Chiefs just because I don't trust the Seahawks on the road, and I think Kansas City is low-key probably the best home field advantage since the 12th man in Seattle is sort of non-existent. I was surprised. I was watching the Giants Seahawks. Rest in peace to the Giants, by the way. You know, it was a nice season. We'll see you next year. But I was just like, where's the 12th? You know, you're used to. I thought, we're in Seattle, this is going to be crazy. I was like, oh, no.
It moved back.
Like a home game for any team.
It went back.
I'm also taking the Chiefs. The Chiefs are playing better football now. Big Red is doing his thing, and Alex Smith is not making mistakes. Like, he's not doing too much, but he's also not making mistakes. He had a great game last week, and he threw for like 150 yards and no touchdowns. Like, but somehow it was still a great game. You know, it's kind of weird. But anyway, I'm taking.
Captain, keep it safe.
There you go, Frank. Let's start with you. This is maybe the game of the week. The Lions at the Cardinals. I can't even help but to laugh just saying that. So, Lions at Cardinals, 7-2 versus 8-1. Who you got?
I am a huge believer that when a backup quarterback comes in that first week, the team is just completely fired up to like rally behind this guy at least for 1 week. So I'm going to take the Cardinals.
Okay, Fred.
I don't trust the Lions. And I'm still gonna not trust the Lions. Give me the Cardinals.
That's because you low-key still think the Bears are going to win that division for some reason. I'm going to take the Cardinals as well. They're the home team, and I agree with everything you said, Frank. I completely agree. This first game, the coach is going to have them fired up. They're going to buy in. What happens after this game, I don't know, but I think they're at home as well, so they're going to be fired up for this game. It's a big game. I'm taking the Cardinals. Next, we have the Eagles at the Packers. Hometown fans, don't kill me, but I'm taking Aaron Rodgers right now. Him and Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb are just lighting the league on fire. Listen, my own theory is that it's somewhat racism because there's no way that Jordy Nelson should get that open. I think it's because he's a white boy. They allow him at times just to run past him because they don't think he's that fast. And he's putting up crazy numbers this year. So I'm going to roll with the Packers that game. I'm hoping for a nice shootout. Mark Sanchez fighting back in that offense. But we'll see. I'm taking the Packers. Let's go to you, Fred.
I'm taking the Packers. I don't even have to question this. Aaron Rodgers is going to light this defense up.
Damn, okay.
You know,
Frank, what do you think?
We keep saying that about the Eagles' defense, and I've yet to see them actually be the terrible defense that I thought they were going to be. I have a little faith in this Eagles' defense, and all I got to do is be within 50 yards of them to do a better job than the Bears did last week. So, all that being said, I'm still going with Aaron Rodgers because I think it's tough to win at Lambeau. And
you set him up, Frank. Why you have to set him up like that?
I hit him with the rope, Dub. I can't pick against Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, discount double check. All right, last game. I'm going to start with you, Frank, because I was going to go to Fred, but I don't even know what's the point. Patriots at Colts. Big game. Andrew Luck.
Fred might have to wear all black to watch this game. I think Andrew Luck is going to do that defense greasy, like something nasty.
Yeah. Fred. I mean, everybody sees the hat. So let's see. Let's give your objective opinion on this game.
Okay, my objective opinion. Andrew Luck all day.
Oh!
Andrew Luck all day, baby. Let's go.
Wow. Salute to you for being able to say that, man. I appreciate that, man. But I'm also taking the Colts. The Colts started out very slow. And they may be one of the teams that, you could consider the best team in the league right now. We'll see what happens because this season has crazy ebbs and flows. Ben Roethlisberger went from turning into Dan Marino to, being Trent Dilfer within a week. So you never know what happens week to week. This entire season has been completely crazy. So you never know. I think the team that wins the championship this year is the hottest team, not necessarily the best team. Because who's the best team?
There is none.
This is crazy. I don't even think that the Atlanta Falcons are mathematically out of the NFC South whatsoever. Two games. They can win the NFC South easily.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anybody that's eliminated at this point. Is anybody? The Raiders, of course. The Raiders, of course.
Tampa.
Yeah.
Tampa.
I don't think Tampa's eliminated.
They're 1-9.
Yeah, the first place team is 4-5.
The first place team.
This is true. You're right on that. You're right on that. Does anybody want to win that division? The NFC.
My point is, the only team right now that maybe that and for the people watching this, don't judge us because we don't have the stats in front of us. But I'm just saying, on the top of my head, I think the Raiders may be the only team that are
Jaguars
eliminated.
Probably. Raiders and the Jaguars, I would say.
How about your Giants? Your Giants still got a shot?
Yeah, I mean they still have a lot of divisional games left, so and they
Redskins are kind of out of it, but I mean, I'm sorry.
No, you brought up the Falcons. The Falcons got 3 wins, and they're all division wins, so they can easily still win that division.
The NFL makes no.
They got all the tiebreakers lined up, ready for that.
Do my Bears? Do my fighting bear? No, never mind.
All right, here's my last question. Here's my last question before we get out of here. Do you guys like this, or do you like when there are clear-cut dominant teams, and then you have the underdog, so to speak, or do you like the fact that week to week you just don't know what's going to happen? What do you prefer, Frank?
I like the week to week not knowing what's going to happen, but at the same time, I do like 1 to 2 actual favorites. So that way, it kind of gives us like the little favorite underdog thing to root for. Because right now, part of watching sports is obviously, especially when you don't have a dog in the race, is like watching upsets is probably the best thing to watch in sports when it's not your team winning. So, but in this league, it's like, what the hell is an upset? I don't know. If Tampa Bay beats the Patriots, is that an upset, or are they just probably just as good as them? Because who the hell knows? Who knows who is as good as who? Yeah.
And Fred, what about you? How do you like it?
I like it.
No Skittles.
I like it very crazy in the regular season, but when it comes playoff time, let's get it back to that. I mean,
okay, all right, good point.
Let the big boys play in the playoff. Let the regular season be for the little kids to play.
Yeah, more so, I like to just watch good games. I don't want to watch just a bunch of mediocre teams play each other. There's a lot of good teams playing each other. Some of these games are like you're watching them and they're competitive, but they're not good. They're just like teams that are just equally competitive. So it's 17-14, but it's just like a terrible football game to watch, and that's kind of that kind of stuff.
We gotta get Pittsburgh, Tennessee out of Monday night. How much can John Gruden is gonna say over under on how many nice things he'll say about Zach Madden?
What he's gonna do to Ben Roethlisberger is illegal, and Law and Order SVU will be giving him a phone call. Olivia Benson will be looking for you, John Gruden. With that being said, for those that have made it thus far in the video, give us your opinion. Do you like the NFL when it's crazy like this and week to week you have no idea who's going to do what? Or do you like it when we have clear-cut, favorites and underdogs? Because this season, it just changes from week to week. Let us know what you think. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. War Room Sports Everything. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're everywhere. Pinterest, Tumblr, War Room Sports. Also, sports-kings.com. That's where Frank and all of his compadres talk about everything from hockey, baseball, basketball, midget mud wrestling, all kinds of sports are right there on sports-king.com. Also, check out @FPurdueSports. He's always on Twitter. And also from College Football Extra, of course. He gives you all his analysis on all the college football games on Saturdays. And, he talks Bill Belichick and Patriots all Sunday, even when they're not relevant to any conversation. So check
come on, Larry. Just come on in the league. Bring your buddy Andre Johnson while you're at it.
That being said, listen, as we always say, don't accept mediocrity. Be steadfast in the war against ignorance, and we'll see you chumps on top.
Kuwait, it's the war room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys, diversified and educated.